you became in the child sponsorship program. How does that begin, and what was that like for you?
Especially because where we used to live, there's a church called Redeemed Gospel Church, which had partnered with Compassion International. So within the slum area, they used to ask parents or people around to come. You apply for it. Of course, they get to hear your story. Because I used to live with my grandparents, and my grandmother decided to sign me up and just to see if I could get in. Must have been 5 going to 6. And of course, the team from Compassion, what are they called? Social workers come and take your story to just make sure that it's genuine. And then from 6 years old, so took me in, and now I meant school fees and all those things sorted.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a country where we're really blessed here in New Zealand to have access to a whole lot of things.
Yeah.
So when you say the word slum,
Okay.
it doesn't really, for a lot of us, we're removed from that. A lot of us are so far removed from that. Can you take us into what life was like growing up in a slum for you?
Yeah, thank you for that, because, slum or ghettos is different from the West to Kenya. So for us, growing up in the slum, the houses are made of mud, and some of them made of iron sheet. And so, of course, me growing up with my grandparents, they had their own kids, and my mom wasn't there then. So we're around 12 to 15 people in a 2-roomed house. So you have
12 people.
12 people in that, and sometimes 15, depending on who comes. So, of course, food was guesswork, or you just eat whenever or when you can find. So, of course, growing up in that state, of course, it's there's nothing, there's no water. You go to the toilet outside. There's no electricity, of course. And so it's, to explain it to the Kiwi, it's a very, very hard concept, because it's just there, you sleep whenever you can, and that was the area. And so even things like I was telling my friend a few weeks ago, the only dream, especially growing up in the slum, of course, because, of course, it means if you're poor, there is gang and thieves and robbers and everything. My dream was, 2 dreams I had when I was a kid, at least to have 1 meal a day, and at least to get by the age of 21, because I knew that was
that was your dream growing up.
Yeah, I never thought about doctors or lawyers. For me, it was, if I can eat 1 meal a day, and then at least live up to 21 years, and I'll have accomplished.
Just make it to being 21. Just reach your 21st birthday.
But then, because most of my friends, because of joining gangs, passed on between 16 and 18. So I was like, by 21, I've beaten them. I've beaten all of them.
Yeah, outlasted.
That was my young thought.
And so how does that sort of change once you get into the child sponsorship program? Is that over time you start to, like, the world kind of opens up in terms of possibility or opportunity?
Yeah, I think, of course, because then when you join the child sponsorship, they pay your school fees. At least I got new uniform, new shoes, and I was the king of the school, because looking nice, new shoes. I was like, this is heaven on earth. And of course, but every Saturday we used to go to the project, meet between 9 and 12. So I was assured every Saturday there'll be a meal during the lunchtime. Of course, they teach you about God's word, but also just life skills, especially living in a slum. And some of us did not have fathers, so that in a way you meet other sponsored kid, but then the training and life skills open your mind. But above all, they used to take us for camping outside Nairobi, so we could see a world beyond ourselves. But the big one, because when you get a sponsor, mine was from America, they'll write you letters, send you pictures, so they tell you what's going on, where they're going. Of course, my mind couldn't comprehend, see people live. But that, it opens your mind, and I'm like, oh, there's a world bigger than where I'm staying. And I'm like, there is someone who's not met me physically. They've just seen my picture. They care about me. They pray for me. They send money and gifts during Christmas. So that, I think the big part was just opening a world beyond what I could see.
That's amazing. Still hard to sort of imagine it, but you've taken us to the place where you were brought up, and we thank you for that. I've just lost my train of thought here. So your faith, it must have been tested so many times during your years growing up. Or was it tested? Or did you plant yourself knowing that God's going to take care of me?
I'll give thanks to my grandparents, who unfortunately they've all passed on now. But just for them, because they were Christians, in a way, especially if you live in a slum, in the context in one of the African places, there is hopelessness that catches your heart, that you lose hope. There is no future. Like for me, thinking, oh, the only thing I needed was food and to be 21, then it means you let loose of your body, yourself, and you join all these things. So that aspect of faith saying there's something beyond me after going to compassion, but also there is something beyond the normal world. Even if I struggle throughout life, there is heaven. But that aspect of just knowing there is something beyond me, I don't know what came from it. When I joined compassion, I was like, there has to be something more beyond this slum area. And in a way, just keeps me grounded in something. But also the faith, now that I live in New Zealand and I live in both worlds at the same time because family and fun are all in Kenya, is just sometimes, of course, I'm like, God, you can take care of those people because I do not have enough resource to save the world. But that the faith that I used to have then still keeps me standing here in a sense of praying for some of my friends and some people who are still back in the slums.
If someone had told you when you were younger, say 7, 8 years old, and you're thinking, if I can just eat a meal a day, if I can make it till 21, that's winning. If someone had said you're gonna move to New Zealand when you're older, all the things that you're doing now, would you have believed them?
No. I don't know. Trying to explain it is hard, especially when in that place, all you're thinking is just the next meal. Imagine your whole life is the next meal.
Wow.
So even your mental capacity and even being able to think beyond that, it's nothing. And of course, if you live in a survival mode, all you want to just everything get out and find food and steal here and there some food from the shop because that's all you are thinking. Even now that I've been in New Zealand now more than 9 years, I still, once in a while when I visit Kenya, I go, it seems like I can't relate to that young Waweru. It's like two
different people,
different. But even my friends, some of those, unfortunately, have not been able to leave the slums. Still, they can't even comprehend that Waweru lives in New Zealand. Some of them think I'm lying.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
like
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, what an amazing journey. You've been through the valley a lot, and I feel like you're winning at the moment. I don't know you personally, but I hope that you're thriving. For somebody who's listening right now, we just need you to sort of talk to them directly. Mm-hmm. And you've opened up our eyes and you've opened up our ears to the value of child sponsorship. But could you just sum it up for us of why it's so important to invest, to give back into a child that they don't even know?
I think especially for us who live in the West or in New Zealand, life is not perfect. All of us have needs. But I feel because God has given us a little bit more resource, we can be able to look back to countries, that developing countries, whether here or whichever country, and reach out and become Christ in practicality. That offering something that is tangible, that is not up in the sky. It's when you sponsor a child, literally you're sponsoring someone. You're not changing a life alone. You're changing the whole community. By me being sponsored, my family has been able to have friends and people. So that aspect. It looks, I know sometimes if you live in New Zealand, it looks so far-fetched, or does this money make a difference? It does make a difference. And even for me, I've never met my sponsors, but I'm sure if they were to, I'm sure that we've written letters and everything, but for them to hear that to what they did, they never met me, they didn't know me, but also just the impact it has had on me and my people, and now that I live here, it's tangible, it's real, practical. I know everything has its challenges. Sometimes you might sponsor a child and maybe they come out of the program or something happens. That happens. However, for those, if you can, whether you're a teenager, young adult, but also it's just expanding your world beyond where you live. Any part of New Zealand, and you sponsor a child from Africa or even South America, or wherever, it gives you an opportunity to connect with someone beyond yourself. And you're just enlarging who you are, enlarging your family, enlarging your community. And in a way, sometimes it keeps you humble and reminds you that we're just here by God's grace. I could have been born in a different part of the world. And so that I'll encourage anyone. It's not perfect, but just commit. And the good thing I think for me, child sponsorship is not a hit and run. It's a process. You walk with the child, you write letters, they write you. You see their world, they see your world. And in that, you never know who you're sponsoring.
Amazing.